I now call this meeting of the Benton County Board of Education to order. Will you please rise for the prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let's pray. God, we give you thanks for all the students and the families, the teachers, the administrators represented here at this meeting. We ask that you guide our time here tonight, that we make good decisions for our school system. Give everyone the strength to make it through the end of the year. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Michelle, will you please call roll?
Miss Douglas. Mr. Marks.
Present.
Mr. Blue.
Here.
Mr. Thornton.
Here.
Mr. Hargis.
Here.
Mr. Livingston.
Here.
Mr. Winters.
Here.
Mr. Hyatt.
Here.
Miss Kennan.
Here.
Miss Arnold. Here. Mr. Hedge. Mr. Mills.
Here.
10 present, 2 absent.
With 10 present, 2 absent, we do have a quorum. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Remember that includes approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of April minutes and approval of substitutes pending background checks.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda and the consent agenda. Is there any discussion?
Was there something you wanted to add to the agenda?
Yes, we need to add our STEM presentation.
Yes, Ms. Petty John?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to make a motion to do that, please.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to include the STEM presentation immediately following the approval of the agenda.
Yes.
So we're going to vote on the amendment first. All those in favor of amending the agenda to include the STEM presentation, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. We have amended the agenda to include the STEM presentation. So now on the floor, we have the approval of the agenda as amended, which includes the STEM presentation and the consent agenda. Is there anything further on that? If not, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. The amended agenda and the consent agenda have been approved. Next on our amended agenda is the STEM presentation. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to the Paw Press. My name is Molly. Today is Monday, February 10th, and here is this week's breaking news right after we hear the weather. I hope you enjoyed the warm temperature last week because we have a big change this week. The temperature today will be in the 40s, so you will need your coat.
Hey, Knots, how do you get a squirrel to like you?
I don't know, Amara. How do you get a squirrel to like you?
Act like a nut.
Okay, let's move on.
Man, what are the?
Radish.
Radish.
Okay. Next on our agenda is the approval of the executive committee report. The executive committee of the Benton County Board of Education met on Monday, April 23rd, 2025 by phone at 4:15 p.m. A recommendation to approve Ms. Nikki Pullman to be added to the May 5th, 2025 board agenda to address her concerns with the board was approved. The request is attached to the report that is in our packet. All approved. Members present were Shauna Kennan, board chair, and director Mark Lawrence. I recommend that we approve this committee report.
Motion approved. Second, remarks.
We have a motion and a second to approve the executive committee report. All those in favor of approval, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Executive committee report has been approved. Next on our agenda is Ms. Nikki Pullman. If you just want to come up here, and I'm going to read our statement before individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. Each person speaking shall state their name, address, and subject of presentation. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes unless time is extended by the board chair. The chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. Also, our board attorney has directed the board not to comment.
Yes, ma'am.
So your 2 minutes will start.
Since the disclosure of an assault and from the moment I began asking questions and demanding the district comply with federal and state laws regarding my children's education and well-being, my family has been targeted, retaliated against, and ignored by the very officials entrusted with protecting our children. At what point did this board lose all sense of accountability, judgment, and basic human decency? My 5-year-old son was recently unenrolled due to abuse and neglect by staff at the elementary school, including a nurse who is not currently licensed to practice. If there was ever any doubt that retaliation and protectionism are alive in this district, the board's recent decision to approve the perpetrator as a volunteer football coach, despite his involvement in an ongoing lawsuit against the district, makes it clear. This approval came just 1 week after I requested to speak at this meeting and submitted the required outline of my remarks. This board is fully aware of what this man is accused of and his central role in active legal proceedings involving the district. By approving his role as a volunteer coach at Camden Central High School, you have placed him in direct contact and proximity to my children. I have documented evidence of bias, collusion, and conflicts of interest, including the involvement of administrators with personal relationships that have interfered with fair and lawful processes. I am requesting a public acknowledgement of these systemic failures, an independent investigation into retaliation, 504, Title IX violations, and staff misconduct. A full review of who is involved in these decisions and how personal relationships have compromised them. Immediate action to end the abuse of power that continues to harm our children. To allow this to continue is to be complicit. You are actively failing to protect the most vulnerable. If you cannot ensure student safety, dignity, and legal rights, you have no place in public education. Thank you for your time. Just a minute. You're requested to speak as we walk through the door on your.
We have on the paper in the back, that will be at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Next on our agenda The approval of the Building and Property Committee report.
The Building and Property Maintenance Committee met on Thursday, April the 24th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the Benton County Support Center conference room. Those present were myself, Brad Mills, Mark Vargas, Ben Marks, Judy Arnold, Lady Joe Douglas, Marco Winter, Tim High, Mark Florence. We had Kelly Cordell from Cordell Roofing, also Jake Green, Mark Trees, and Dale Lynch from Cordell Roofing. The committee met to discuss the following items: the Camden Junior High School roofing replacement. Also, a press box on the visitor side, which would be south of Tommy Richardson Stadium. And a recommendation was made to piggyback off of the Coriel roofing bid awarded to Manchester City Schools and move forward with the Camden Junior High roof project pending comptroller and board attorney's approval, and all approved. A recommendation also was made to request bids for a press box on the visitor side of Tommy Richardson Stadium, and all approved that. The meeting is adjourned. I make the motion that the committee report be accepted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Building, Property, and Maintenance Committee report. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, we move on. All those in favor of approving the Building, Property, and Maintenance Committee report, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. The Building, Property, and Maintenance Committee report has been approved. Next on our agenda is approval of the CJH roof replacement bid. We need a motion and a second for that as well.
I make a motion we approve the bid for piggybacking the Manchester City School and Coriel roofing.
We have a motion and a second to approve the CJH roof replacement bid, which piggybacks off of the Manchester City bid from Coriel Roofing. Do we have any discussion?
Chair Kenyon, I talked to the comptroller's office and they said it's perfectly fine to piggyback off of, as long as it's not new construction. And I also talked to the board attorney. He does not have a problem. He is going to look at some other, to make sure everything's covered, but I have TCA, I feel confident that we're fine. If you look at that price that Coriel will give you, when you put the square footage to it, because I know when you look at Manchester City, it's a much smaller bid, but when you put the square footage to it, then that's where that price, I think it's $14.84 a square with a few pennies. Also, Jake Green with Coriel's here if anyone else has questions, but I have checked with the comptroller and I have checked with Mr. Cagle, and they both say that we're good. Everybody on the board knows that we did that assessment a couple years ago. Junior high second line, we did spend about $30,000 patching that a couple years ago, but it is just in tough shape. And when you have over 500,000 square feet of buildings, these come about. So I think the total, I'm not looking at it, but it's right at 1.2. And I did put that in your new budget, but it says draft because we're going to talk about the budget later. But I did put an additional the amount for the roof at junior high, and I did put $500,000 in next year's budget out of to cover the HVAC upgrade at Broward. So if we know that's going to happen, I think we're better off to go ahead and put it in the budget instead of moving it in July. So when you look at your budget, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes, that is in there. I'll be glad to answer any questions, and like I said, Jake Green with Coriel Roofing is here as well.
Okay, as far as the old roof, how old is it right now? What we have on there? Can you say about what you think, 20 years? Yeah, I'm guessing.
Probably 30.
I couldn't find any dates but it's north of 20. It'd be my.
Or the 20, okay, all right.
And one question was asked by a board member about why would we piggyback? We've piggybacked for school buses before. Basically, what you do when you piggyback, you don't have to go through the bid process with an architect and construction manager, so there is some savings that way. And it's done quite often. It's just the first time we've done it with construction, but since it's not new construction, it's not an issue.
Anything further? With nothing further, we will vote for the approval of the CJH roof replacement bid to piggyback off of the Manchester City bid from Coriel Roofing. Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll?
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Blue?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Hargis?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold? Yes. Mr. Mills?
Yes.
10 yes.
With 10 yeses, the bid is approved. Next on our agenda is the approval of the Budget Committee report. Mr. Hargis, will you read that for us?
Okay. The Budget Committee met on Thursday, April the 24th, 2025, at 6 p.m. in the Board of Education Support Center Conference Room. Those present were Chairman, myself, Marco Winters, Judy Arnold, Betty Jo Douglas, Robert Livingston, Ben Marks, Brad Mills, Tim Hyatt, and Director Florence. The committee met to discuss the following items: Education Freedom Act Section 4 resolution for the $2,000 teacher bonus, 2025 and 26 food nutrition budget, 2025 and 26 general purpose school budget. Recommendation was made to approve the TSBA sample resolution for the Education Freedom Act Section 4 resolution for the $2,000 teacher bonus. All approved. A recommendation was made to approve the 2025-26 proposed food nutrition budget. All approved. A recommendation was made to approve the 2025-26 proposed general purpose school budget. All approved. And the meeting was adjourned. I think we're going to have a little bit more information. We're planning on voting on that proposed general purpose school budget tonight, but I think we're going to wait on that because the county commission hasn't set the property tax rate yet. So I offer that as a motion to approve the report on the budget committee meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Budget Committee report. Any further discussion on that?
The only thing, it should be school nutrition. Somebody that typed that and it wasn't Michelle, it was me. It should say school nutrition, not food nutrition. So I apologize for that. We'll update that. Miss Michelle was giving me the eye.
You know what you mean.
With no further discussion, we will vote on that committee report. All in favor of approval of the Budget Committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. We have approved the Budget Committee report. Next on our agenda is the Education Freedom Act Resolution, Section 4, which deals with the teacher bonus. If we can get a motion and a second, we can discuss.
Got a motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second for the Education Freedom Act Resolution Section 4 dealing with the teacher bonus. Is there any discussion?
The only thing I'll say from the committee standpoint, I think publicly we want everyone to know that this board strongly opposed the Education Freedom Act. We're firm believers that public dollars ought to stay with public schools, but this particular section does not in any way say this board supports the Education Freedom Act. It just says that you support the Section 4 that will give our tenured teachers a bonus. So I think it's important that we put that on public record that this school board in no way, and they've made that quite clear over the last few years, that they do not support the vouchers, but they do support our teachers and think they should receive the bonus.
I also think it's important to note that when they say a $2,000 bonus to all public school teachers, that is not what they mean. They don't include every school teacher that is employed in our system. Yeah. Any further discussion? We will vote, and if this is approved, we have to have it signed tonight
Correct.
by every member of the board.
No, just you.
Oh, just me. Oh, well. Brought my black pen too. Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll? We are voting to approve the Education Freedom Act Resolution, Section 4, that deals with the teacher bonus.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Hargis?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
No.
Ms. Kinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold? Yes. Mr. Mills?
Yes.
9 yes, 1, oh, would anyone like to change their vote?
I'll go ahead and join the rest of them.
10 yes.
With 10 yeses, that resolution does pass. I will be signing it as well as Mr. Florence. Do you have a, is this the one you want signed, or do you have a pretty one? Okay, that one's good. Not that that one's not good. Thought we might have like an in-color one. Next on our agenda is approval of the 25-26 school nutrition budget proposal. That is in our packet. It's a one sheet. If we can get a motion in a second, we can discuss if needed.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 25-26 school nutrition budget proposal. Is there any discussion?
Chair Keenan, the only thing I would tell the board is, I don't think the commission not having their regular budget passed would affect that. I also think it's important for the board to realize that with COVID and those federal dollars, there was some money put into fund balance for food nutrition. And we have been spending quite a bit. A new freezer now, $60,000 to $70,000. So we've probably in the last year pulled close to $250,000 out of those reserves. So it's just like you at home, things are getting much more expensive. So, but the budget pretty well just reflects increases in food prices and then the raises that all the employees will receive. I will tell you that our CEP, the Community Eligibility Program, from what Ms. Michelle has been told in meetings, that will at least continue for 2 more years. That is a huge asset to our community that all our children are eating for free. And to be honest, it's really been a boost for our cafeterias because our children are eating, which is good.
Any further discussion or questions? If not, we will vote. We are voting on the approval of the 25-26 school nutrition budget proposal. Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll?
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Hargis?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold? Yes. Mr. Mills?
Yes.
10 yes.
With anybody want to change?
Oh, and would anyone like to change their vote? 10 yes.
With 10 yeses, that school nutrition budget proposal for 25-26 is approved. Next on our agenda is the approval of the 25-26 schools general purpose budget proposal.
What do you say? Were we not gonna vote on that?
we gotta defer that.
We have to have a main motion, and then we're gonna
I see.
get a motion to postpone.
Make a motion to postpone that until.
Oh, we gotta have a main motion first.
Main
Sorry.
motion. Second and main motion.
We have a motion to approve and we have a second. So we open the floor up for discussion or other motions. So now,
Now, I would like to make a motion, we postpone that to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
we have on the floor, we have a motion to postpone the approval of the school's general purpose budget proposal to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
I second that.
We have a second on that motion to postpone. That motion is debatable. Do we need to talk about that while we're doing it?
The only thing I would tell, for those of you that were at the budget committee, nobody wrote in stone that the commission would have the budget passed in May. But over the last 3 to 5 years, the commission's had the budget passed. I have not met with the budget committee yet, but when we met as a budget committee last week, I recommended that we use last year's revenue with this year's TISA projections with our budget that had been developed in case the commission was ready in May. We could make the school budget to be anything that held up. But after we did that, I talked to Ms. Brasher, the financial consultant. They do not have a certified tax rate ready for our budget, so they are not going to pass the county budget in May. So I would recommend waiting until we appear before the budget committee, and hopefully we'll have some more local revenues. We did, our TISA projections are a little higher. The only thing bad about it, our enrollments fell about 20 students since that come out. So it's real easy to do the math. $7,250 times 20 students. You can see that affects budget pretty good. So I think I recommend the motion, and then we will discuss a budget committee during the director's report.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion to postpone? If not, we are going to vote on the motion to postpone the approval of the 25-26 budget to the next meeting. All those in favor of postponing to the next meeting, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it, motion passes. We have postponed the approval of the budget to the next meeting, the next regular meeting. Next on our agenda is approval of the budget resolutions, and there are several in our packet.
Make a motion to approve them as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those as they are in our packet.
And the one in there that's $130,000, that's the one that you mentioned about the money to spend on the freezer and that kind of thing there. We need to do. All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Anything further?
Yes, the last sheet that was in there, that was put in today. We just received our summer school projections Friday. And Miss Lori, thank you, and Miss Brandy, and Mr. Daniel, and Marilyn's not here. It's just like developing a new budget, and we had to have it in E-Plan. So they actually submitted that today about 10 a.m. and they all run to my office and said, go to E-Plan and do it now. Because it is quite a tedious process. So that is what that is. I think we said there was a few cents difference from last year. So.
Can we do it on the same budget we did last?
We're not offering near the service. I mean, we don't have the number of kids and we don't have the amount of students for the simple reason ESSER has expired and we use a lot of ESSER funds to add a little more than we can with what the state provides. But we were expecting that, so Ms. Lori and her team has planned for realizing that we're not going to have the funds that we had the first couple of years.
Any further discussion or questions? If not, we're going to vote to approve the budget resolutions as they are written in our packet. Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll?
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Blue?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Hargis?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Ms. Kennon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 10 yes.
With 10 yeses, the budget resolutions are approved. Next on our agenda is the director's report.
All right, first thing, special thanks to Ms. Pam and Ms. Christie, and more importantly, the parents and students here that presented, and we always say there's a whole lot more good going on in our schools than bad, so we appreciate them. Next thing, and the most important thing this week, and I sent the teachers an email earlier, we appreciate them every day, but a big thank you to our teachers, Teacher Appreciation Week, on how much we appreciate all they do. It's a very difficult job. It's getting more difficult every day. I will tell you on behalf of the board, we're going to send some funds to each school and let the principals kind of decide how they special treats for their teachers, whatever they decide to do. So that will be coming on behalf of the board. So just wanted to let you know, we had been wrestling on how to recognize our teachers, so that's what we're going to do. But just want to make sure our teachers realize how much we appreciate all they do. I want to congratulate Mr. Jerry Dinwiddie. That was recognized at our annual CHS Academics Award banquet last week. And then also special thank you to Miss Andrea Needham and the CHS staff for putting on a great evening. And what was really special, Miss Christy Ballard, a Camden Central High School graduate that's been working with the State Department for many years, was our guest speaker. And then we had several outstanding students receiving awards. So I know some of you were able to attend that, but that was a great night. Well, we're wrapping up spring sports. Congratulations to the CJH baseball team on reaching the conference final. The baseball team finished up the season this weekend. Softball is playing in the district tournament as we speak. I was trying to motion Nicole back there to see what the score was during the presentation. So they were up 3-0 after the third inning. So that's the update I had. We also have, I think, I get this wrong, I asked Mr. Armstrong, but I think it's track and field in the spring. I think that's right. And then we have tennis participating in tournaments. The band, I've heard a lot of good things about their showing at the Fish Fry Parade. And so thank you to all our students, and just a good and busy spring. Special day Friday, track and field day. Those of you that have maybe your first year on the board, that'll be at Camden Central High School on May the 9th at 9:30. That's always a special day at the Florence House, and it's a special day in our school system. So make sure if you want, I think they'll have hamburgers and hot dogs, and if you can make it out, I encourage you just to come out. It will be outside on the football field if the weather cooperates. If not, we will move inside to the gym. Correct, Mr. McDowell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We need to schedule a personnel and budget committee. I put Thursday, May 15th, personnel at 5, budget at 5:45. And then I also put a budget meeting on May 24th if necessary. Because I don't know, I know they're having budget meetings on Wednesdays. They have not asked me to come, but I think starting tomorrow night, I'm just going to be there. And hopefully by the 15th, I will be able to share with you our local revenues. Also, if you decide, and it's totally up to you as a board, has nothing to do with me, but if you want to make any changes to the director's contract, you have to do that. That the agenda would have to go out by May 19th according to Tennessee law. It has to be, the agenda has to go out, the public notice has to go out 14 days before the next board meeting. So that's the reason I scheduled the 15th. Is the 15th okay with personnel and budget? Does anybody have an issue with that?
Graduation is on the 16th.
That is correct. Next on my list.
You said 5 o'clock on the personnel, right?
And I'll send you a text.
And I guess to go along with that, we will need our evaluations done. If y'all can get those to me by the 12th.
Okay.
By that Monday, I can get them calculated and all that stuff I do to them. And all you have to do is bring it up here, give it to Miss Michelle, somebody in the front, they will put it in an envelope with my name on it. Don't put your name on it unless you want to.
When did you say you needed that up?
I need it by Monday the 12th, please.
Let's go ahead.
Mr. Shannon, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Would that be something we could put on an email to the board, make it easier for them, if that evaluation for them?
Yes.
He's pretty good under pressure. Which, if you would like that, we'll send it. If you'd rather do the paper copy, you'll have both options.
You fill it out online.
It's an Excel spreadsheet. So just warning you. Some of us are better than others with Excel spreadsheets.
And if you wanna do it on paper, it's not an issue.
No.
And if it's a big issue for Dr. Shannon, I'll send you a text, say, forget that, I spoke too soon. Graduation is Friday, May the 16th. It's hard to believe Big Sandy will be at 6 p.m. That's a special day. That will be the last graduating class at Big Sandy School. And then CHS is 7:30 p.m. We will leave the parking lot in front of Camden Junior High at 5:10. So if you want to carpool down, if you drive on your own, just make sure you park on the north side of the Big Sandy gym. If you're directionally challenged, that's towards the town. Brandy's laughing because she knows that turkey. She's running laughing, so I'm calling her out.
And don't run over the cones.
Don't run over the cones, and you can follow Thornton, and he'll get you to Camden safely. But the Sheriff Christopher will be there to escort us, and we always have plenty of time. But if we do have Ryan and Mr. Mark, a lot of times those that live in Big Sandy would come up and ride down with us, so they wouldn't have to, go. So it's totally up to you, but we'll leave the Camden Junior High, where we park the buses at 5:10 on the 16th. Summer camp begins June the 2nd. That'll be 4 weeks in June, 4 days a week, from 8 to 3:30. We have to run buses. It's just like having school again. So that will be at Briarwood School. Thank you, Mr. White and Mr. Medlin, for that puts a really hardship on those administrators, because there's a month where we're not preparing our school for next year because we're having half school. But Briarwood is just the one that can accommodate those age groups. I just want, as I go around the meetings around the state and do things, I just want to thank you as a board for understanding your role and doing it the right way. You're not told that enough, and I appreciate all you do as a board. The last thing I have, well, it's not the last thing. Remember to continue to keep James Mayo's family in your prayers. James is a big part of our school family, and to lose him suddenly was the career technical center in the high school still reeling from that loss. So please continue to keep that family in your prayers. I will be on vacation the week of May 26th. That's Memorial Day. So I guess you can say that Tuesday through Friday, but I'll send you a text. You all have my cell phone. You all have, if you need me, you can call me. But that was a time that we scheduled. And then our next meeting is June the 2nd. That's all I have, Chair Kenny. Any questions?
Can I just mention that Redhead today, we had some calls, so there's kind of prayers right now.
Prayers for, and Mr. Hedges, okay? No broken bones.
That's still scary, isn't it?
Okay. He was bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more thing. Shame on me. I did want to tell you the new teachers that we have coming in at this time. Now, tomorrow will be 2 weeks before the end of school. This is my 30th year in the school system and my 12th year as director, And I'm hoping and praying that these last 2 weeks are not like those first 30. But there's a good chance there'll be a little chaos in the next 2 weeks. We're gonna have retirements we're not expecting. We're gonna have people go to other systems that we're not expecting. So this list, I hope it doesn't change, but it probably will. But Matt Cooley is gonna be history teacher at the high school and football coach. Callie Walford, that's Callie Brasher. If you remember her in school, she's gonna be the new chemistry and biology teacher, science teacher at the high school. Briley Pride, a new ag teacher. Brianna Mills, a new ag teacher. And since I said ag teachers, thank you, board, for giving us the opportunity. We have, I talked to Dr. Bird, the professor at UTM, and said he never had 2 candidates as excited to get here and get this started. So I know y'all been pushing, and I appreciate you pushing. And so we're gonna try, but with that said, we're gonna need your help, and especially these Aggies amongst the bunch. We're gonna really need y'all's help to help these young ladies get our program going. Miss Carrie Hill, she has been hired. Our goal is for her to go to Camden Elementary as a special education teacher, but there's a lot of moving parts right now, but she's coming from Illinois, and we toured the elementary school a couple of weeks ago, and she'll be, that's our plan to assign her to Camden Elementary. Miss Rita Palin, she's been a teacher's aide for us for a few years, but she's finished her degree, and she's now going to be, we hope, special ed teachers at Briarwood. I always tell these candidates, that's our plan, but plans do change when you're in education. There's when people leave. And then Sherry Walker, which has been a special ed assistant at Big Sandy this past year, but she does have her special ed degree. And so that will be our extra teacher at Big Sandy. So as we speak, we have an extra sped teacher at CHS, Camden Junior High, and Briarwood. We did have one at Camden Elementary, but as plans go, that's changed. So now we're back to normal. And again, thank you for giving us that opportunity, because our staff's really needed. So with that, Chair Kenny and I will be quiet.
A question, the property, the firehouse property, do you want to speak on that? Or?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it. As you know, there's been a little change with the county attorney, so I have not heard from anyone. So until I get the deed on the property, I think we'll need to hold off. But what, Mr. Hyde, I put that in your memo. I'm not even sure. The only fire hall I know on Natchez Trace is the main one there, but there may be a little one. Brad, you may know, but they're wanting to build a new station.
I can find out, but I think it's the chalk level provider Natchez Trace Station. They have 2.
Mr. James Warren called me, and in my 12 years, I think we've had a couple. I think Mr. Robertson, when those of you that were on the board with him, the old single house schools years ago were owned by the county and the school system. Well, they changed them over to fire department. For those of us old enough in the room, I went to kindergarten at Eva. And so when they built that, when they made that a fire hall, the board just deeded that property over to the fire department. That's what we're dealing with here, but they want to build a new fire hall, and obviously they don't want to build a new fire hall if it's under the school system's name. So I told Mr. Warren I didn't think it'd be any problem. I guess once they get the new county attorney, they'll reach out to us, and then we would I would recommend to you that you just deed that property over to the fire department so they could build their new fire hall. Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Any more questions?
Next on our agenda is a visitor before the board, Mr. Browning. And I'm going to read our public comment paragraph again. Individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. Each person speaking shall state their name, address, and subject of presentation. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes unless time is extended by the board chair The chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. And once again, there won't be a comment from the board.
Okay. I just wanted to get up here and say that I'm just shocked how the school board has caused my family to be treated. And it's really affected the mental health of every single member of our family. And I've had Mark Florence bailing on the scheduled 30-minute bailing on the scheduled meeting 30 minutes after it was set to start in order to take some staff out to lunch. And that was just one instance of how our time has been wasted. It could have been better spent doing something different.
We're really disappointed in our school district.
No further visitors on our sign-in sheet. Our reminders, our next meeting is Monday, June the 2nd at 6 p.m. here in this room. Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up. Nurses Appreciation Week is this week, actually. Friday, May the 9th, track and field at CHS at 9:30 a.m. I need your evals by Monday the 12th, like end of business. If you have trouble getting it up here, we'll figure out a way. I can come find you. Graduation is Friday, May the 16th. We're going to meet at the parking lot where we park the buses across from CJH. We will be in Big Sandy at 6 p.m. and Camden at 7:30 p.m. We're praying for no rain. We're going to have a personnel and budget committee meeting at 5 p.m. and 5:45 respectively on Thursday the 15th. We will have another budget meeting on 5/24 if needed. Am I missing anything?
Nope.
We have to have the agenda in by May the 19th if we're going to change anything on your contract, correct?
That is correct.
All right. With no further business, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Meeting has been